7 p.m. across the wire. Every word cuts through the silence. Truth burns like fire. You can hear the crowd lean closer when the shadows start to fade. There's no spin, no silver soldier, just the echo of what's real today. And I've been waiting for this all my life, to see the light behind the noise. Yeah, I've been waiting for the night to strike. Tailspin rolls, we find our voice. Tailspin on X tonight. No spin, just truth, just light. You can feel that pulse ignite. At 7 p.m. we rise tonight. There's a hum behind the data, a code that won't lie still. You can dress the truth in makeup, but the light cuts through the veil at will. And I've been waiting for this all my life, to hear the sound that breaks the lie. Yeah, I've been waiting for this fire inside. Tailspin calls and we testify. Tailspin on X tonight. No spin, just truth, just light. 7 p.m. the storm ignites. Tailspin rolls through the night. Truth don't need disguise, no. No spin, just like
All righty, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tailspin. Let me bring Guy up to co-host. We got Goose up here. What's going on, Pop?
Know what's going on, Matt. It's not letting me accept co-host for some reason. And when I requested up, or when I clicked it, it didn't. Took away all my sound functions. But I'm gonna just stay like this, I think, for right now to play it safe. So how are you doing?
I'm great. Voice isolation. Sounds like you're in the shower.
Yeah, I'm shaving my face.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it. At least he comes to the space nice and clean, Goose.
Yeah, I was gonna. It did sound like he was.
I gotta come clean.
Yeah, can't make this stuff up. I mean, I do sometimes shower in Guy space, but I turn my voice isolation on. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tailspin. Tonight's a little bit more serious discussion. Reports out today that Dave Wilcock has died. Can't really get confirmation. Um, it was on Wikipedia, but we know you can't trust that. And then it was removed. There was a death, I believe. Looking at photos, seemed to be his residence, and a lot of reports coming out say it was, possibly took his own life. But this is just absolutely nuts. Some would say it's just a coincidence, but we've had 11 other in, I would say, the UFO aerospace type community go missing or found dead. And then just prior to this, pinned up top, you'll see um, there's another aerospace defense engineer and military veteran killed in a plane crash. Can't really make this stuff up. Can't make it up. So that would be a total of 12 dead or missing within that industry in the past year. And then you also had uh, Nick Pope also pass away last week, who was also big in ufology. What the heck is going on here, folks? I have no idea. What do you think, Goose? Oh, I know what you think, Goose. Trying to bring Guy up. Yo, before we get going, there was an update yesterday. So if you cannot hear any of the speakers, if you're a listener or if you're having problems as a speaker, drop down, do that update real quick, and then come back. That's been happening all day on X. I just heard it in another space. If you don't have the update, you might not hear the conversation. So make sure you do that update if you haven't done it yet. What's going on, Guy?
What's going on, Mav? Just give me a second. I am drying myself as we are speaking. Yep, I am also butt ass naked while we get ready and know what we don't know.
I'm hoping you're by yourself and not with Pop. That'd be very disturbing. Now Chuck's gonna come up and tell me he's in the shower too. You got to be the cleanest bunch of people I know.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath. No, I'm just kidding. I just got home from work, so I'm the opposite effect. I need one, but it'll be later. Just happy to be up here and wanted to. I mean, I don't have a whole lot that I can add to all of that conversation there, Mav. That's just some really creepy coincidental stuff there.
Just coincidence, though, right, Chuck?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
You can't make. It's like a bad movie, right? It's kind of like you know where it's going.
It's it's so aggravating that you can see the moves that can be made, or if the narrative is going to go this way, these are going to be the next moves, and then those moves happen, but everybody's like, nope, it wasn't that. This is just natural.
Yeah, just natural when they're about to drop information about UFOs, supposedly, right? And then you have all these people disappear, go missing, or die. A lot of suicides, and then flat out murder, like randomly shot.
Well,
You know, pitch
speaking
perfect.
of movies, Mav, I've seen this before, in like some like your high stakes robbery movies and things of the such, to where you've got the team and the whole team does the job, but then at the end there's a whole lot of double crossing going on, and then you tie up all the loose ends. There ends up only being one beneficiary, so it's kind of like they're just going right by. Well, it's the natural occurrences of things are just kind of mimicking a movie plot for sure.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And I said earlier in a couple DMs from some of the folks in the UFO community, I am not suicidal. I'm very happy. Um, yeah, I'm not having going through any manic states or anything like that. Just to make sure everyone knows, if something were to happen to me, please question it and be loud about questioning it, because yes, I am not suicidal. Goose, I'm gonna try to bring you back up. And I also said, yo, they better be leaving my freaking fit friends alone. or really going to piss me off. I mean, I've lucky enough, I haven't known any of these people. You know, rest in peace. You know, God bless them all. But better leave my freaking guest I've had alone. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to be a little personal. So I'm really going to have to start digging and get loud. But hopefully that doesn't happen because they're all good people. And like I said, I tried to get a hold of David to have him on the space. He never got back to me. That was like 2 months ago. When I was looking through like trending things, like that popped up that I asked. And I actually forgot that I actually DM'd him to ask to be on the space. What's going on, Auntie? What do you think, Auntie? Is stuff getting crazy or what?
Yeah, it is. I actually did a story on this recently in my news space. And one of the disappearances, I don't know if you looked into all of them, but there's been a couple recently that they've all been tied to the same project, which is a material science project, where it's some type of like super alloy. It's not, widely known because I think it's actually involved in the military, but there's some super alloy, and a lot of people on this single project have gone missing. One of them was an experienced hiker that was hiking with two other experienced hikers. And in their statements, they swore that they were only 30 feet ahead of the person who went missing. They turned around, they were gone. They did a lot of extensive searches and nowhere to be found, no traces, even though they were with an entire hiking party.
Yes, I covered it. I'm gonna get to let me pull up the name of that individual. That was odd in itself, and I've heard a lot of explanations on, oh well, a lot of weird things happen when you go hiking. It was a dangerous trail they were on, blah blah blah. But I've done search and rescue. So if you're only 30 feet away from someone, even if there was a cliff or rough terrain and you were to fall, um, the person's normally still there after they fall. They don't just vanish when you do a complete search of the area and you can't find them. All you find, I think, was like a beanie that she was wearing, if I remember correctly. I'm looking through now.
Yeah, and then a general that was literally in the same field went missing just a couple weeks ago. I think it was like 3 weeks ago. Same type of situation. Went out for a hike. They're a very avid hiker. Not a single shred of evidence to be found. They had the largest search party for multiple days in a row. They had National Guard. They had like experts out there. They had helicopters. They had infrared. They had everything. Not a shred of evidence. Just straight up missing.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make any sense. And then there were also reports that there were other hikers in the area and they heard a woman screaming, but then you can't locate the body if the person is deceased, right? To me, who's done search and rescue, that doesn't make any sense, right? You'd have some type of evidence of someone slipping, or then you would at least start questioning those that were with them, right? So they're 30 feet behind you, and then they just disappeared. You didn't hear anything, but other hikers heard someone screaming, like they're in pain. Um, but you can't find evidence of anyone. That's kind of odd. And then I think one of those that were hiking with her said they told law enforcement, whoever the responders were, where they thought she might be, and they went in the opposite direction. Um, that could just, to me, could be a misinterpretation of what was going on. I don't think if there was some type of foul play, you would have all the local first responders in on it. That would be a little hard to swallow as far as being conspiratorious about it. But just the fact they couldn't find her and they were with them is just kind of odd. I don't know.
Well, the one thing that everybody is clamoring to do and why, spaces like this are so important and needed, or it's just everyone wants the truth and it doesn't feel right. Like everybody's uneasy, everybody is upset and angry. And I mean, my heart literally goes out to the family of these people who have no closure, no answers whatsoever. And it's just like we're living in a world where we have more information than ever, but we're given less truth than ever. And it's a hard pill to swallow.
And I think you're talking about Monica Reza, right?
Correct. But I mean, my last statement was just in general. Like, I feel like it's just one of those things where everybody just wants the truth and we're getting less and less of it. It's all adulterated, mixed. We don't know who to trust, who to believe. And yeah, I feel bad for the family. I really do feel bad for the family of all these people going missing because they're not getting answers, and who knows if they ever will.
You couldn't have said it better. That's the truth about everything in this world, honestly. And I know Mav agrees as well. This world is full of mysteries. No matter how much they put it in your face, you'll never know the actual truth.
Now I did find a post from David Wilcox on it was 2 days ago. Let me go to that. I'll read that to you. I believe I posted it. Just give me a second here. Yeah, this was from 2 days ago, and this is from David Wilcock. My dear friend, my dear family, I am not yet sure if I'm doing a show tomorrow. I've had some very intense stuff going on this weekend. Either way, I want you all to know how much I love and appreciate you. Always remember that the Creator is within and we live in a loving universe. I am very grateful to you and all of your love, care, and support. Thank you to all of you, my donors and regular loyal supporters, including, I'm not going to read through all the people that he listed. Um, if I was to read that and I was friends with him, I would probably reach out and be like, "Are you okay, brother?" So I don't know. That seemed a little weird to me. He posted that 2 days ago and then nothing else since. So that was a little odd. Like I said, who knows? Uh,
Do we
we
know if
still
there
have,
was any appearances of him, like since he put out that post?
I believe he did make the appearance the next day. And from comments I seen on X, they were like, he seemed well spirited. So I don't know. And there's still no concrete confirmed confirmation that it was him. Um, they won't release the information until after the coroner releases their report. But there's a few on here. I can't verify who they are. Say no, it's him. It's confirmed. And then there's others saying no, I haven't heard anything for anyone close to him, so it's not confirmed. So who knows right now? It's just speculation, but does seem like it's leaning in that direction because you think if it wasn't him, he would at least make some type of statement, right? Or someone close would be like, "No, he's fine. This is, I'm good. It's not me." Because someone would have reached out and called him, I would think. I don't know. What do you think, UFO intros?
Um, I think trying to equate David Wilcock's suicide to the death or disappearance of these other actual scientists is a mockery to those scientists. David Wilcock was a fraud. He wasn't doing any research. Um, I made some jokes earlier about this kind of because, like, I think Amy Eskridge killed herself, and I think it's awful that people are lumping her in with this other group of scientists. But yeah, so I made some jokes about, like, oh, obviously, Wilcock was killed for his research, assuming people would get the sarcasm, but they're not. They actually believe that, like, he may have been taken out for what, like, pretty sure the police were like, they watched him shoot himself. This isn't this isn't a scientist who was disappeared, guys. This is a scammer, right? He was claiming to be like reincarnated Edgar Casey.
Yes.
And I think people need to, especially when it comes to like people's deaths and suicides, just pump the brakes a little bit. There are real scientists who've gone missing, and that's weird, right?
I
And
do
that's
think that a lot of
just
us, that was
questions there.
kind of, I think that was kind of just like the topic transition. Like I don't think that everybody here was saying they think that he was necessarily along the same lines, but that is a theory, which you're kind of saying as well. Like it's out there, it's a theory, so it's kind of like this is a theory out there, but these are the actual real scientists with the real disappearances that are really weird. But I 100% get what you're saying. Like it's not the same thing, but at the same time, there's people out there that are saying it, and the other people need to be discussed as well, like the people that are actually missing.
Yeah, exactly. right? Because it muddies the waters when you lump someone like David Wilcock in with people like General McCaslin, you know, like an actual, like, where's he? That's really weird. But, you know, Wilcock killing himself is really sad, and it's not something to make jokes about. But the fact that there are people in this community who actually believe like he was taken out, right? He was suicided because of his research is just shows it's indicative of how gullible some people in here are. Not in this space, but just in the community generally.
Do you think that there's a lot of people that didn't research the missing scientists, right? Or been here for, I mean, I don't consider myself an expert at all, but I've interviewed enough physicists and things to get a grasp on what's reality and what's not, what's possible, what's not, what could be possible, versus someone who, um, what's the word? Uh, is still part of ufology, right? So you would definitely say he was part of ufology that was more known than any of those that have gone missing, let's say to the normies, right? So wouldn't that be maybe a way to muddy the waters by adding to the ones that you should really be concerned about for national security reasons?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so treating his suicide like he was another one of these scientists only helps whoever is taking these people out, right? It only helps to muddy the waters about the real questions we should be asking. Not that Wilcock's suicide isn't tragic and something to reflect on, but to put him in the same level as people like McCaslin or these others, it's just like a mockery to them. You know, it wasn't the same thing. This guy couldn't pay his power bill, and he was a scammer, right? So it sucks that he killed himself, but he was living a lie. I mean, it's a totally different conversation.
But Mav touched on a really important point that they don't want to stifle the crazy conspiracy theories. The people that are actually out there trying to hide stuff, there's a reason why they'll help push this stuff. They'll hire people
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
push this stuff because the crazier it all seems, then they just get lumped in with the rest of them. So there's
Yes.
definitely been documented cases where they've actively pushed insane theories. Like, I mean, a lot of the stuff going around right now that's trending, there's a reason for that, and it's diversion.
Yep. 100%.
I mean, that was kind of what I was thinking, UFO intro, that it's just odd, right? Because now you're starting, well, you had Nick Pope who died, right? And then a lot of people, normies, know who he was, from all the documentaries and things. And now you have David Wilcock, who everyone knows from ancient alien theorists believe, you know what I mean? So um it kind of does muddy the waters up and takes the attention away from the ones that we should be focusing on. So that's what I'm saying. Could it still be tied, but as a distraction from people that are asking or have been asking the right questions in the past month or so, across, especially on
Yeah.
UFO Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I would say probably not. And I don't remember if it was Guy that made the last comment. That was a good point. But you see this all the time in ufology, right? Apophenia. It's like pareidolia, but non-visual. It's just people connecting dots that aren't really correlated at all, right? It's a a correlation doesn't mean causation type thing. What I'm saying is like this could just be the UFO community like being conspiratorial, right? I believe they're doing the same thing with Amy Eskridge's suicide, right? And they're doing that. People are actually doing this with Wilcock now. Like Amy, we could have a debate, but point I'm trying to make is like I don't know that this is any kind of top down like let's muddy the waters. I think it's just the community itself reads into things and finds connections that aren't really meaningful, but they make it a thing, right? And we muddy the waters ourselves. You know what I mean?
One thing I
Fair enough.
will say though is anytime there's a big mystery celebrity kind of death or weird conspiracy theory that gets pushed that's trending online, I can bet you that I'm going to spend 3 times longer scrolling to the bottom of news articles to see what else is going on. Because I'm not saying that they caused this or the people at the top were setting this up, but I'm saying that they never waste good distractions. So when anything goes down, like there's always things that are ready in the background for them to roll out. The same thing with like any time where there's a major world, attack or war, or like terrorist attack. Like it's not that I'm thinking that there was orchestrated from people at the top, but I will spend a lot of extra time looking through different world news stories that day, the next day, the day after, different stories that would normally catch attention, but nobody even knows about because they're too focused on something else. So it's not that they're the ones that are doing the original like number one piece, but they are always waiting for opportunities to pull something else off when nobody's paying attention. So all I'm
Oh,
saying
I
is
see.
today,
So it's like a
yeah.
distraction type thing.
Well, I'm saying like they're ready. Like they've got certain things in the works that they're just waiting for the time where like, hey, we have to wait for a time where this will get washed, where nobody will be reading to page 4 on the news headlines. So I'm just saying days like this are days where I spend a little extra time today, tomorrow, looking into the world news and things to be like, hey, what things are they trying to sneak in, under the radar? Not,
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
giving ammo to the conspiracy theorists. I know it's terrible.
no, I mean that I think that definitely can be a thing. I think Trump's maybe been pulling some of that, but you guys got to understand most people have no idea who David Wilcock is. Um I just for me, I think it's more just like it gets clicks. I think that's why we saw like the Daily News and the New York Post lumping Amy Eskridge's suicide in with these other scientists because like it's provocative. But I just like basically this story isn't a distraction really, or they're not using it to hide other things from it, like because most people aside from this community don't even really know who Wilcock was, you know. So I don't know about that
I
personally.
was just saying in general. I wasn't saying with this story, but I'm saying anytime like I don't know, there's a major world attack or things that are going on in Iran or whatever, let's say there's an October 6th type of thing. I'm saying like when that happens, I'm not the one to jump out and say, "Oh, it's the elites that let October 6th happen." That's when I'm like, let's see what else is going on in the world for the next 3-4 days when nobody
Yeah.
else will scroll to page 3 or 4. But I'm not saying that this is the case because like you said, it seems like a very sad person that was past the hype and the prime and not doing super well in his life, and it's a sad story about humanity more than anything. I'm not saying that that's what's happening now. I'm just saying this is something that I do believe happens often.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like right now, there's 10,000 posts, and this is trending on X. So whatever the headlines were going to be, this just took over.
Yeah, it's sad. I'm like slowly backing away from the UFO community. It feels like it's like people are actually gonna tie David Wilcock's suicide in with these other actual scientists. It's like, come on, people. Like this, you just need to do a little more research on Wilcock, right? And I'm not trying to mock his death, but he was nowhere near these other scientists.
Well, that maybe is a more of a reason for you not to back away. Maybe honestly that should be like kind of a reason for you to stay, because when people like you move out of the space because they're frustrated with the direction things are going, then there's less opposition to the people that are putting this stuff out there. So I appreciate you being in the space. I don't think you should back away at all.
Thanks for saying that.
I agree. I agree because I didn't really know much about him other than, everyone, I never really took him seriously. So even, since I've been in the community, I think for like 6 months now, I never went back and said, oh, what does David Wilcox have to say about this? I kind of took a lot of his stuff as just publicity driven, attention seeking. Then I got a couple DMs pretty much saying what you just said. And I'm like, okay. So, yeah, so there's
You
probably
know,
no time unless it's a distraction.
sorry, I didn't mean to. And not that this guy is the arbiter of truth. In fact, he's usually the opposite. But UFO Shane, if you ever catch him in a space soon, go talk to UFO Shane about David Wilcock. Like the guy scammed, I think, millions of dollars out of people. It's just, it's so sad. It's funny. Like, it's not any, like, anyone's death is not something to laugh at, but like, yeah, it's just, it's not a thing, guys. Like, he's not one of these scientists. I promise you.
Well, no, that's actually good because if he was, that would be frightening. Cause we'd be up to what, number 12 now? Did you see what I posted up about where did it go? Give me a second here.
You know what's really
Oh,
this
the
is
James Moffat guy.
Yeah. What do you think of that one?
I see this. Well, I mean, he died in a plane crash. I mean, unless the plane was brought down or somehow. It is weird. You know what, though? Basically, my answer is I don't know. But I will point back to, what was it, Friday, Saturday? Amy Eskridge's father put out a statement and he said, look, like, scientists die as well, just like other people, you know? And so, you know what I mean? Like, it again, it's apophenia. Just because a scientist who is working on some high tech stuff dies doesn't necessarily mean they were killed. You know, like they are actually just people as well, and they also die, right? And I'm still suspect of like the actual 10, like the remaining 10. You know, I'm sure some of those are explainable too, but still, like something is going on with those. But by inserting people like Wilcock into that group, and in my opinion, Eskridge, it just again it like muddies the waters, and it's kind of a mockery to those other individuals. Just my opinion.
I think it's a
No.
good opinion. And also, I just got to say, Mav, something really funny happened. I used my second phone to just research the Wilcock death thing. And when I clicked on the link, the second post underneath the announcement of Wilcock's death was real MJ with her purse, like underneath it. I'm not even linked on my X account on the other phone. So it's like there, I just searched David Wilcox, and then right underneath, I get real MJ and her purse for her post. And I just thought that was really funny.
That is funny because I just did a search too. And it was non-Wilcox, and everything that showed up in my search was Wilcox. What the hell's going on? I mean, I've never seen that happen on X before. That's crazy. So that's funny that you said MJ showed up like it was your normal feed, right?
Yeah, but it's also funny that it was like underneath, like it was all conspiracy theory stories on there, and then it was just real MJ with her purse. Like she was just linked in with all these different UFO conspiracy theorists, and she was like, it was like David Wilcox, real MJ purse, UFOs, abduction. You know, it's just like she was just in that same feed on a phone that I'm not even linked on my X account. That just made me laugh.
So maybe she has something to do with this. Is that what you're saying?
I think there's a connection there that we really need to look into. As UFO intros was saying, I think this is a much bigger story about world domination. And clearly, David Wilcox was the one that was going to lead us to connection with extraterrestrials. And yeah, there's a lot of knowledge coming from UFO intros.
And MJ, I guess. She's part of the
She's
conspiracy.
connected somehow. We don't know. We'll update you as things continue to unfold.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know, this whole year. Like, I mean, I started with the conspiracy stuff when I first started the space almost a year ago, and it was just fun, poking fun at things. But these things just keep like lining up. Like it started with the Three Eye Atlas crap, right? And then there's just such there's just so much going on in the world that just doesn't make any freaking sense. And I know like UFO Intros is saying about Wilcox, it's just if I was a normie and now that the scientists are hitting mainstream media, that's a good way. That's a good way to throw distraction and take everybody off the trail, right?
Yeah, man. I will say you've had some really good spaces. I remember talking to Avi Loeb in one of your spaces last summer, and yeah, man. Props to you for holding down a good space. And I appreciate you guys being open to like a different perspective on this today. So thanks for that.
No, that's the most important thing. So I'm glad you actually came up because, like I said, I had no knowledge other than watching him on, Ancient Aliens on the History Channel and things like that. Never really took him very seriously. Um, so I didn't really know. I just knew that he was, I would say, popular for the normies because that's what I was when I used to watch him. Um, I never went into deep dives with whistleblowers or actual physicists or things like that because a lot of stuff they would say was like boring until I got a few of them on here who I talked to, on the back channels, and I'm like, and they're telling me things. I'm like, wait a minute, that's real? Wait, what? You seen what? And then I'm like, okay, this is a whole new level. And now when I watch something, going through YouTube or I'm trying to find a good topic or I find someone here who's interesting and I look through, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to invite them on because what I've been told by XYZ, that doesn't sound legitimate to me. But I appreciate you coming up and saying, what you did because it's important. And I tell everyone in these spaces, look, you might not have to agree with everyone that comes up to speak, but leave your cup half empty and take whatever truth you can get out of it. Or even if it pisses you off initially, wait a day or so and then rethink about it and see if it makes sense. Whether it's ufology, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, there's always some truth in it from a different perspective. And you can learn from it and then put that in your toolbox when you're trying to figure something else out. So now I got, it kind of makes me step back a little bit because I wasn't sure if he could have something tied in because I read through the bio and supposedly he was a director of some aerospace. And then the more I read, it was he was more of a face and someone to bring money into the project, not so much working on the project. So yeah, it's making a little bit more sense to me now.
Mav, I think you need to have like a tailspin backstage because one, I think it's amazing, and honestly, I don't know anybody else that interviews as many people that you disagree with, which is like in the beginning at first it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, a lot of these people you were having up in your space were people that were saying some things that I really didn't agree with, and then I started to get to know you, and I was like, oh dang, like Mav doesn't agree with him either, but he's literally given them a microphone in order for to learn himself, like he's got an open mind about it, and he lets them speak. There's a couple different people that will have other people they disagree with on, but it's usually like an I gotcha kind of moment or something where like they're back and forth, like they just decide they want to debate this person, but Mav will like genuinely have people up that he does not disagree with, and he'll let them speak for the entire 2 hours. But I think that's amazing. But I think that you should have a Mav tailspin backstage, like maybe the next day, so then you could give your viewpoints on your guest or who you hosted. So I know you love to give them the mic and you love to have them speak, what's on their mind, which is amazing. That's pretty genuine, and we need it. But I would love to see a tailspin backstage.
I think that's a great idea, and I have to echo what he said, man. Props to you for doing that. I've been interviewing like skeptics, debunkers lately. I think they're important to learn from as well. If we're actually looking for the truth here, and I feel like you are, Mav. A lot of people I know perpetuate some of these bullshit stories because they get clicks, and I'm certainly not about that, and I don't feel like you are either.
Well, it's even like tonight's space. Like I could have put down David Wilcock's dead, David Wilcock's suicide, but I don't know if he's dead. I don't know if it's a suicide. I know it's trending. I could have sensationalized it, but I didn't, so I try to not sensationalize things. Even with like 3A Atlas, I could have went viral and probably had shit 4 or 5 times the followers I have now with 3A Atlas, but I never sensationalized it. I tried to keep it accurate and real and just ask questions. Um, I don't know if if I'm helping myself by doing that or not. I think long term, yes. Short term, maybe not.
It
But yeah, I could.
it's about quality, right? like maybe you don't have as many like followers number wise, but you have quality followers who actually trust you to be sincere and ask honest questions.
Yes, and that's what I've been I focused on. I was like, I don't want like they got me yesterday. Look, I got a thing breaking tsunami hit Japan, so I broadcast it live, the video. Then I realized the video was old. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So then I deleted the post, right? Um, so they get me every once in a while because
But
I
you own
don't.
it, right? And you apologize, you make a correction. Like so many people don't do that these days. So props to you.
Yeah, so I'm like, shit, they got me. Sometimes they get me, and I'm not gonna lie. I had I don't know if you know John Colin, right? He was an investigative journalist. I had him on twice. So he disappeared. Like still haven't heard from him since November. Just vanished. So he was on my space a week before, and then he ghost every platform, his Patreon, everything, just nothing. No social media. So I ran a space. Where is John Cullen, right? And I had Diligent pull up. I mean, it was a big space. And I was just asking the question, where is he? What happened to him? Because he was investigating first he started investigating the shooting in Vegas. He spent, I think, over a year out there, had incredible information and um, talking points about what happened with the Vegas shooting. Then he was investigating the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on the president. And then he was also the night I had him on is when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So that was just like that wasn't unplanned. So it went from Butler to Charlie Kirk being shot. But while he was in the space, he was talking about Butler that he had met with Tulsi Gabbard, and he was talking to them, and he was going to be meeting with them in a week or so to go over um, information he had from the Butler assassination attempt. And he was supposed to meet with the Attorney General from DNI and investigators. So I took it as when he said he was going to meet with them, he was going to meet with them in DC, right? So during that conversation after he went missing, I said the last time I spoke to him, he was supposed to meet with DNI, the Attorney General for DNI, or Inspector General, or at least I think it was the Attorney General signed to DNI, um, or the Assistant Attorney General. And his friend Goodman started attacking me, saying I was lying and I was full of shit. And I'm like, wait a minute, did I get this wrong? So I went back into my other space where I had him on, and I pulled the clip of him saying this, and I posted it out. Um, I said, look, here it is. I'm not lying. I'm telling you exactly what he said. Here's the clip. And during that space, I was getting DMs that, oh, he's fine. I so and so has contacted him. So the space had ended. I reposted out the space. If you missed the space, come back and listen. Then I was DM'd again by the person who I trusted was a source, said that information was wrong. No one has heard from him. So then I put in the comments, correction. We said he was fine and we know his whereabouts, and that information is incorrect. And I mentioned everything I just told you. So I will go back and make corrections if something's wrong. But I was even thinking about deleting that space because I felt bad saying he was okay. And I was actually, I'm still concerned about him. But then I put the correction in and I got slack. Well, why didn't you go back and change the title? I'm like, after 60 minutes, I can't edit the title of the post. So I put it in the comments, correction. The information that was provided during the live space wasn't accurate. This is the accurate information. So I try to do that. And like Auntie, I could do that, maybe do like a follow-up space the next day, a recap or my thoughts. With some of these individuals though, I I I think some of their information is valid, and I wouldn't want to badmouth them or say I disagree because then it's going to be harder to get more people on in the future. You know what I mean?
I totally get that. I don't think anybody would think that you're bad mouthing just because of the platform that you give out to these people, especially if you're doing it the way that I know you would do it. Like you would never come out and be like, these people are full of it. That was so stupid what they said on my space. Like then yeah, of course nobody would want to come on. But I would hope that most people that come onto your space are there because they're seeking the truth, as we talked about earlier. So if you got up with other different people in the space and said, I really, really liked this, that, and the other. This one I'm not so sure about. I've done my own research. I've looked into it. I'm not, everyone always goes back to Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan will do that. Like when he has a guest on, he'll say, you know what, after the space, we looked into it, we had a fact checker, and he's obviously got his own person that's doing it live. But you giving your person the ability to speak without interruption for the entirety, and then just to speak on maybe one or two things you disagreed on, but obviously, you wouldn't have them on if you thought the person was completely full of crap. And if you don't feel that that would be beneficial to the space, then like definitely don't do it. But I would love to hear a good spirited like discussion of your actual thoughts, because there's a lot of people in other spaces in the community that will then come on and talk about your space. But at the same time, I feel like no one would know better how to discuss it than you. So I would be interested to definitely hear the backstage. But if it's something that you don't think is on brand, then definitely don't do it.
Do you think that it would be better to do something with like even if I drop my subscriptions from $5 to $1 and did like an after a subscriber space after the space, you think people would be interested in that?
Do it. I think that's a great idea.
I think it's a really good idea, but also I definitely know there's a lot of people that come down in your listeners that are not even probably following you. That's something I do on like most spaces. I scroll down to the bottom and see like who's there. I feel like you have enough interesting speakers and topics where you have a very high percentage of people that will kind of like jump in, even if they're not really following you or following um, a lot of people in the space. So I would just hate. I feel like you have such good insight into things and you have such a good heart that like I wouldn't want anybody to miss out, but also I get your point, like trying to make it so it's not broadcast as like a hate thing that somebody else will clip and then put out there so it messes with your guest. So it's a tough one, man. Like you're in a tough position. All I'm saying is that I like the insight, I like the way you do things, and I would love to hear it.
Well, I'm definitely gonna think about it. See what we can do. I do have a couple guests I'm working on. I'm not gonna lie, I've been slacking the last couple of days. I haven't been feeling well. Running here to there. Uh, Almost missed my space last night because I wasn't home. But I gotta get back to grinding here and get some more of these guests on here. But definitely, truly appreciate Auntie, and same thing with you, UFO intros. Truly appreciate it, and the kind words. Go ahead, guy.
I just had a, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Yo,
step on you. I was just about to say I had a mouthful of food. I was thinking like, what if you even, because most of the people you have on are so big that they're not going to be coming back to the space 2 nights in a row. But if you wanted to do this, you're such a gentleman about it. Like, why not just invite them? Say, hey, last night I had you up. You were the speaker the whole time. This time I want to open it up to the community to get feedback and just see how they receive the information. No pressure to you. You don't have to be here if you want to come and just hear how people, you know, accepted the feedback, whether you're anonymous or not anonymous. You're at least putting it out there so that way they can grow themselves, hear in real life feedback, and you know that you're not going to be up there bashing people. Like the whole thing is just going to be information and community response, and that's invaluable to public figures. And if they don't want that information or they get upset about it, that's kind of on them, because you'd almost be giving them a free panel, which is what people pay for.
Man, I've been talking on mute. There you are, guy. Guy, you there? Oh, he's still writing.
Yeah, he was pretty muffled.
Guys in the warp zone.
How long did I talk on mute? I hate when I do
Only
that.
for like not even a minute. I didn't.
Only a minute.
Not even a minute. I noticed it. I was like, wait.
Yeah, I don't even think I touched.
What'd you say?
Gotta love this. Okay, but
It's glitching out again, Mav. I don't know if you can hear me. Well, everybody at the same time, drop a comment down below. Request up as well. Make sure to engage in all the posts up top. Bookmark future shows and all that. What's up, Goose and UFO?
how about now? You
Yeah,
hear
I
me
can hear
now?
you
Or
now.
still-
Sounds better.
Yeah, I disconnected from my microphone.
Oh, okay.
No, that's great feedback, Auntie. I love that. And same UFO intros. What I know you guys are more scientific. Auntie, I know you like the physics stuff. Uh, what kind of topics would you guys like? Would really interest you if I could pull it off?
Have you had like a really well versed either apologeticist or a theologian? Obviously, like Wes Huff is off the table now with how famous he's gotten, but anybody similar to that where people could post questions ahead of time that like he could run through and kind of discuss or answer?
Um, as far as what subject matter?
Well, I mean anything. Like I said, there is Christian scientists, which people will laugh at, but they're ones that will disagree with the common evolutionary theory or the way that it's written as far as like chemical evolution versus um, general evolution, or the things that are well documented. You've got people that will argument against the age of the universe for intelligent design. There are just theologians that can answer simple questions like, does God specifically state that this is not good or this is good? Like, morality questions. There's people that can talk about the history of the Catholic Church. There's people that can talk about the inerrancy of the Bible, or like how accurate it is versus every other document we have historically. Like, there's so many different people we can go down that route, and I know that's actually a passion of yours. So I'm kind of interested, to know why you haven't had someone like that on your space, because I know your background and I know what you believe. So I feel like that would be right up your alley and something that a lot of people, even if they're not religious, would like to hear.
No, I got you. I have had on Stephen Emberato, Father Stephen Emberato. He's known as the protest priest. His mission now is going out to all abortion clinics. I got freaking hate rated with that topic, where they actually shut down my space because I had so many mass reporting on that from bots. But I did have him on. I'm trying now. I'm in communication with someone to get uh, Father Chad Rippinger. He is one of the most well-known exorcists in the United States, and he actually runs. Um, he teaches exorcists in the United States. I think he's out in, man, I think maybe Montana, Colorado, something like that.
Well, let me
That's all.
know. I've studied spiritual warfare pretty in depth, and it's something I'm kind of doing right now. Like, I have kind of a mentor, and yeah, let me know if that space actually forms.
Okay, I'm working on that. Then I'm gonna get the guy. I also reached out to a gentleman. He was on Tucker. He's a chemist, but he is a creationist, and I've been trying to get him. I'm gonna reach out to him again. Very interesting because he talks about uh, as far as organic chemistry and biology, where they've taken cells, broke them apart, pulled all the organelles and everything up out of them, and then put the organelles and everything back in the cell, and the cell dies. And then he's talking about, the evolutionary theory that you just had all these proteins in this volcanic goo, and it formed cells, and et cetera, et cetera. And he says that has never been proven, and no one has ever done it. And when they talk about that, they're full of shit. And
Even
I
Darwin
got
himself, even Darwin himself in his own book, The Origin of Species, if anybody has not read it, it's a great read. He himself said, "These are the flaws in my theory. If this is not rectified within a certain amount of time, then my theory is null and void." Like, so even Darwin himself put these things into place so they would basically be stops for people, and everyone blew right past them because this was the alternative for people to God. And so they took what Darwin wrote, even in his own theory, which he admitted had flaws, and then they made it gospel because it was the alternative to a God. And it's wild. I keep stepping on Guy. This is the second time. I gotta drop down anyway, Guy. I'm so sorry.
Oh, wait, before you drop down, before we get the guy, this is someone I'm trying to get for tomorrow. I'd like to know if UFO intros or any of you guys know who this is. Lieutenant Colonel Greg Rechnick. Any of you know who?
That does not ring a bell for me.
Yeah, I've never
Suppose
heard of him.
Supposedly he was in the Air Force, and then he got a job as a contractor working at Area 51, Area 52, uh, S was it S4, S1, whatever the hell it is, at Dulce Base, and it was down in the tunnels with aliens, and he's encountered Greys, reptilians, and has actually got into firefights with them. Um, I have a contact. I reached out to them today. I'm gonna try to get him on a space if you guys would be interested in that. And he said that they're not from other planets. They've always been here. The demon angel thing is real. They can take physical form when they change from their dimension to ours. So you can see them sometimes in their dimension. And that's why when you fire upon them or you try anything with them, nothing happens. But they can also cross into our dimension in physical form and you can hurt them. Um, I listened to him last night on an interview, and I reached out to the guy who I'm friends with to see if he can get him into space here. I've never heard that explanation in any of these, especially on UFO Twitter of anyone like almost sounds like a story very similar to what's his name who was found
Jason
hanging.
Sands.
No, he killed himself. He was talking about Dulce Base. They lasered off part of his hand. Shit, I can't think of his name. And then they found him. He was in a wheelchair, and they found him hanging from the ceiling fan hotel room. You know, obviously a suicide. The guy couldn't get out of a wheelchair. Shit, I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. Go ahead, guy.
Yo, the subscription space, I remember you mentioned that one of the things was body. Sure, pretty much is in that space. Space. Yeah. It's pretty well.
Can't hear you. Feel like your volume is like super, super low.
Yeah, I
See
can't
if we
hear it.
see if we can get guy back up. Told him to get rid of that Android.
Not the Android.
It's the app. Oh man, UFO interest. I can't think of his name. The heck is his name? Man, Snyder. You know what I'm talking about?
Schneider.
Snyder does ring a little bit more of a bell, but I'm not familiar with that story, honestly.
He was a contractor, I believe, a geologist. Um, and he would go down into the tunnels at Dulce Base, and they ran into Grays, and they actually got into a firefight, and he had Delta Force. Delta Force had to go down and rescue him. I think 4 or 5 of them died. He lost half of his hand with some type of weapon they had. Um, so his story is very similar to that. And he said that his when he heard his story and him come public with it, that he believes his story is 100% true because that's what he experienced in the deep underground dumbs, and that they've always been down there. They're not extraterrestrial. They've always been here, but they are also interdimensional. They've just been underground. Pretty crazy stuff. I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of him. I also reached out to if you're interested in the theology stuff, I reached out to a couple of rabbis too. I'm trying to get them with a Catholic priest uh, to see if they can discuss the differences between the two different religions because I think that would be interesting. Even though I'm kind of biased because I'm Catholic myself, but I'd still love to hear what others have to say. Like I was in, I'm sure you know, Doctor Strange had a space about that with Christianity and Islam. Um, didn't agree with everything he said, but agreed enough that we can remain friends. How's that? But still very interesting from an Islamic point of view. And I did catch some things that were off. Um, that I knew for sure, but still interesting. I like different points of view, especially if it makes me challenge what I think. Guy says he keeps rugging. So on that note, we're gonna end this space. I'd like to thank everyone. Uh, UFO, if you find any more information out, just shoot me a DM about what's going on with Wilcox or anything else, or any opinion that you might have.
Yeah, I'm buddy of mine, paranormal, posts really funny stuff, but he's also super smart and very well researched on this topic. I put, I think, some of his memes up top, but he was reading through an article earlier, just a couple hours ago when this was reported about Wilcock, and he's I don't know if he's busy. I've asked him for the link. I could probably find it myself, but he remembers reading the police watched David shoot himself, right? So this wasn't any kind of like a hit job or like taking out the scientists, just trying to keep things straight. Like it's really sad either way if someone takes their life. Again, I don't think we should be muddying the waters with the likes of David Wilcock as opposed to like these more serious scientists. But I appreciate you letting me state that opinion. And I appreciate the respect that the people in your spaces show. And yeah, man, I still want to interview you here sometime because I feel like you have an interesting perspective and a pretty balanced demeanor on all this stuff. So I appreciate you, man.
Oh, no problem. No, actually, I'm actually not that smart. That's why I like listening to other people.
Well, but that again, I think you're underselling yourself. But I mean, there are plenty of people who aren't that smart. But unlike you, they pretend like they are. So that's refreshing. That you like. I don't think I'm that smart either, right? But you don't. There's no fakery, right? You're not bullshitting anyone, and that goes a long way in my book.
No, no, no. Thank you. No, I always said that. I was taught a long time ago when I went to management training. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. And when the guest I have on here, I am far from the smartest when I have them in my space. And to be quite honest, sometimes I don't even know what they're talking about. I got to sit here with ChatGPT open and go, what is he talking about?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So maybe that's why I seem less threatful because I'm really not threatful at all. What did he just say? What does that even mean? Uh,
Well, and
no,
yeah, I think again, I don't know. This space is so, or this app is so glitchy now. I can't see like who's. I don't know if it was Guy, but I do think that idea he had of like, especially when it's a big guest, like a pre and a post space for your subscribers, because then you can. Because I'm kind of like you. I don't. I mean, I don't think either of us are dumb, but I don't know about a lot of the stuff or a lot of the people that are discussed in some of these spaces. So I think doing a little bit of like crowdsourcing from the community could help you get some solid questions into some of the bigger guests, you know? And then also, like he said, doing like a follow up space where you get to kind of like share your own thoughts and push back if you're not able to do that, right? In the space in front of the guests. I think that could be good too. And I would absolutely pay for that, right? As a subscriber.
oh, for like an after space.
Yeah, well, he was saying like a green room, but then also I thought he was doing, I don't know, one or the other at least, I think is a good idea.
I would I would probably prefer a post because if well, like if anyone had information, my DMs are always open, right? If you have information or you think it's a good question, shoot it to me or drop it in a purple pill during the space. I try to go through them and look. I would actually be probably more nervous if you came in and be like, this guy's, a complete goofball. He doesn't know what he's talking about, you know, 15 minutes before I'm going to interview him. You know what I mean? Because that would be like, that would put me on my heels and I'd be like, oh man, I don't even know if I should be doing this now. Um, Whereas if you say that afterwards and you clarify it, then I could be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Let me look into that more. Or, can you show me where that's wrong or, where you got that information from or
Yeah, yeah. But I think, I mean, I think you are building like a decent follower, like subscriber base, whatever following of people who like value you for what you deliver. And I think that is unique. And so like I guess all I'm saying is, like people do trust your ability to like call certain shots. And so I think, doing a post space like you're saying, and then even putting out a tweet, right, with some of your thoughts in a professional way, if you have some pushback or disagree with certain things your guest said, I think would help people, and I think we need people like you to be willing to do that. Because I think often we just, I don't know, you see Y Files, he does this at the end of every episode. If you guys haven't caught the interview he just did with Peter Lavenda, I think you would love it. It's fascinating. But even at the end of that one, right, he kind of goes through some of the big claims and is like, this one's verified, this one, maybe not so much. So I guess all I'm saying is like sharing your thoughts and like constructive feedback even after an interview, could be good. And that could like a post green room space could be a good way for you to like get some feedback from others and then you can decide for yourself like whatever um debrief I guess post you put out to help inform your followers.
no, that's true. I could do that. And then maybe I could do something too for subscribers on, you know, maybe leak a little information about upcoming guests or discussions that are going to be held. So, in advance prior to the space even starting. So there's maybe something I could work on, put something together.
Yeah, man. Either way, appreciate you. Appreciate this space. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you. There he is. Are you back, guy? Perfect. Perfect.
I have nothing to say, and then the moment I want to speak, I rug out.
So now you have nothing to say?
I don't want to rug out.
Well, I'm ending the space now anyway.
No, I was just trying to say, I remember we talked about the subspace one time. That way you don't get targeted by all the haters out there that hate on math. Um, so I was just agreeing with UFO intros and how a good idea it could be.
And what do you think would be better, guy? A pre-space or a post-space? Subspace.
I'm a greedy, so I would take both.
Yeah, well, just remember, uh, you always say I run 4 or 5 hour spaces, so you would be adding an hour or two to down to that. That'd be a 7 hour space.
Oh, that's interesting. I think a post space would be better. Uh, like how UFO intro said, I think his idea was have your guest hog up the microphone, and then the post space have everybody else like that wanted to ask stuff. I know sometimes the space is derailed, so we can't focus on speakers as well, right?
Well, I think like you or like me, you do sort of the Q&A during certain parts of your spaces with the guest, which is cool. But maybe doing a post space like the next day, right after the interview has happened and people have like kind of been able to sleep on it, right? Let things settle. Then you could do like a post space for subscribers and you could sort of like extrapolate everything, debrief, and have a conversation about the conversation. You know what I mean? Like it sounds meta, but I think there is a lot of value in that.
No, no, that's a good idea. We could do that too. Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie. If I have someone on, and especially if they're new, and I don't have, other than possibly an email or a DM or a quick phone call, it, it is. I mean, you have intros. If you're interviewing somebody for the first time, you don't know how it's gonna go, and for me, I'm nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking for me because even if I get confirmation and then I hit start at 7 and 5 minutes goes by and they're not here, I start to sweat going, oh no, I have all these people listening and they're not here. It's not like a normal podcast where you can start them 5 minutes early, get everything situated. With this app, you just go bam, 7 live. Like, and then you get all the technical problems. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me now? No, I can't hear you now. And all that goes on for like 15 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
if people,
What was that? Didn't that happen last week with Sir Farty? Wasn't that your space?
yes.
Yeah.
So I had to put two phones face to face for the conversation right to the very end when he was about to leave. And then I shut the phone down. And he's like, "Oh, it works now." I'm like, oh my lord, you can't make this up.
Yeah, that's how it
Yes,
goes though, man. It's all off the cuff, right? But that's kind of the beauty of spaces too, man. So I think you're doing a great job and I'm glad you're dipping your toes into this topic because we need folks like you. And frankly, like I don't even know what this all is about. Like I know you guys all have these NFTs. That's kind of why I want to interview, but I really appreciate like I don't know, just like the humility and the honesty that you and your spaces have. So keep at it, please.
thank you so much. Yeah, let me know if you want to do an interview. I don't have a problem with that. I'd be glad to.
Yeah, I'll hit up your DMs for sure.
Yeah, we're an NFT community, but actually we're inscribed on the blockchain on Doge. I came into this community about a year ago. Um, Didn't know anything about crypto, NFTs. I'll be honest, don't tell anybody. I still don't really know that much. I know how to open a wallet and purchase some crypto, but as far as the deep dive in it, it's really not my thing. I you know I've got a couple of the Dojo dogs that I have. They've done very, 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 very well. I'm not gonna lie. The money's just kind of up and up and up with these NFTs. But we started to run spaces, and I was part of a subdivision within the Dojo Dogs type media. And one of the guys here, Riv, I don't know if he's still in here. He goes, "Yo, why don't you start your own space?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if this thing's for me. I don't think I could do this every single day." And I'm coming up on a year. So in 7 days, I've been on here every day at 7 p.m. for a year. And I love it. It's the best decision I ever made in my life. And I liked discussing different topics. So it started with like conspiracy news, politics. So I started with the politics stuff and just talking about the conspiracy. So I've had a couple congressional candidates on. I had a couple running for governor, dealing with the politics stuff. And then I actually interviewed Astral, and he kind of freaked me out the first time I interviewed him because all these weird things were happening on the app. And I was like, bro, I don't know. And then I went probably about a month or so. Then I had a guy on Legendary Cryptid. So that was very interesting talking about cryptids. This guy is just like phenomenal. You just pick a legendary cryptid, and man, he could spend 5 to 10 minutes talking about it. So that was interesting. And then around October, I said it's Halloween. I've had a witch, an actual witch, a good witch on. Um, and then the next day, I had a gentleman who did researches with Bigfoot and crap. So, and then I just kind of breached out from that point. But yep, that's what happened with this account and how it grew. But thank you everybody for joining us here tonight. I hope you got some good information because UFO Intro just gave a lot to me that I didn't know about David. So take it as you will. Like I said, we still don't even know if it is him. So keep an open mind. Watch what's going on. Don't be fooled. Don't be distracted. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We'll be here tomorrow night again at 7 p.m. pinned up top. We'll be jumping into mellow space, or we're going to jump into SCAD space, or jump into both. That's what we do here. We support each other and jump into the next spaces. Pop, thanks for showing up here tonight. Any final words?
Thank you, Mav. Thanks everybody for pulling up. And it's always good talking about, anything with anybody, but the UFOs obviously I like talking about a lot and talking about the conspiracies of the world. So it was a great space. Have a great night, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us here tonight. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Have a good night.